Hello everyone, welcome to the part 5 of Python beginner tutorial series. This video was going to be about for loops and while loops, but now I have changed my mind and now I will show you 3 important topics or functions, whatever you want to call them, but I will show you them and they are extremely helpful and you must know them as a Python programmer. So let's start with the first one. Before I show the first one, let me show you an error you might get while making something like this. So this is a simple code and you might understand it if you have seen my previous video, and you may make it more complex, but to show you why that function is useful, which I am going to show you in a sec, you must understand this code. So it just gains an input. If input is yes, then it will start, and else it will say bye. Okay, so nothing difficult, and I am going to assume right now that the input can only be yes and no, but because for showing this it's all we need. So let me run the code. So when you run, you get an input statement. Do you want to play a quiz? If I write yes, see, I wrote yes, okay, but it's saying bye. Okay, so if you see the code, it should say okay, let's start, but why is it saying bye? So the reason to that is that Python is case sensitive, as I have told repeatedly in my previous tutorials. A capital Y is not the same as a small y, so the Python treats both as separate, and so it treats it as no. Okay, so now if we want to something, if you are making a quiz, the user can input in full caps, some caps, and some small lowercase, and all that. It could be in full lowercase. Okay, so that's the issue if you are making a quiz using just if and else statements. So this is a very important function that you might see. So it goes something like this. Let me modify this code. Okay, so let me make another variable capital N, or let me change this to capital N, and now small n will be capital N dot lower. Okay, now what this function does, let me print out capital N first. Okay, small n. So now it will first print small n. Now see the magic of this code. Okay, now I am writing in full caps yes, but what does it print? Yes. So what does the code do? This function do? It converts the input or whatever it's in front of it. Suppose here we have put n, but this can be any variable. It converts that variable, the string in the variable, to all lower cases. Okay, so now you might guess what this function does. Dot upper. Yes, if you guessed it right, it's true that it will convert everything into full caps. Okay, so how is this function useful? So suppose in a simple game like this, it's not even a game, it's just input output statements. So if you want to make it, because you don't know what the user will type, okay, you don't know if the user's caps is on, off. If he wants to just make it funky by typing a mixture of both caps and lower cases, then your code might break down. Okay, so this function is extremely useful even while you are making big projects. So it won't be of a significant thing that if you know this function, it's a very big thing. It's a very common thing to know this function, but it's extremely useful if you are dealing with some inputs. Okay, so I would recommend you to understand this function and how to use it, and make your own game like this and make it as big as you want. So the second function here is the len function. So what does the len function do? Let me show you this. And n is the input. Now n is this wait a second. small n is equal to len of n, and now let me print small n. Okay, so if I run the code, it asks, let me type a big statement here. Hello, my name is ABC. See, why does it types 20? Okay, so what does the len function do? It counts the number of characters. Now you might say that the answer should not be 20, right? But it also counts the space bars, because when we convert us into a string, the space bar also counts as a character, right? So it gives the length of this whole, including the space, caps, any special characters, everything is counted as a character here. So this function, why is this function useful? So you may want something like this. If you are making a password crack, if you are making a password box or login and something, you might want to limit the maximum length of a password. So let me convert this code. Input is enter password and then \n. Okay, if you don't know what this \n does, it breaks the line, and now instead of writing the input in the same line, you will be able to write it in the separate line. So \n stands for writing it in a separate line. Okay, and then len of password. Now we may want to limit the password for say 8 characters. How will we do that? We will write if n greater less than equal to say 8 characters, print your password is acceptable or something like that. And we may want to do something like this. Print password too long. See, now if we run the code and it's asking for say password, I am writing hello. Oh, I made a mistake while running it. Let me run this again. Okay, see, I am able to write it in the next line. Now let me save the password as hello. Your password is acceptable, and we made it print the length, so it's for 5 characters. Let me remove this part, it's not useful right now. And if we run it again and write the password, we can write something too long. Then it says password is too long. You can use this function in a variety of ways, again like the previous ones. It's not something great to know, but it's always useful to know such small functions as well, as it might help you somewhere. And this is it for this function. Now let me explain you one of the best ways probably to debug a program. Okay, so now let me show you a few ways of debugging. So for that, we need a input statements. Let's modify this only. N is equal to I can think of nothing right now. So input. This is probably fine for now. Now we can do something like this. For example, we want n to be a number. Okay, input a number. Now if we do something like this, if if n, what should we do for this example? Let us use len function here as well. N is equal to len of n. Okay, if n, oh, I forgot to mention that the len function converts the string and what the numerical output is there, it's of the integer data type, if you want to know. So if n is greater than 5, say, so if the length of this input is greater than, oh, we are inputting a number, right? So let's say 2. If it's a 3-digit number, then print, say, n input plus 3, else print n plus 2 maybe. So this is our code. If the input is a 3-digit number, we will add 3 into the input and print it out, and else we would add 2. So I know, and you also know, that there is an error in this code because the input is a string and we are adding an integer to it, so an error message will pop up. Okay, if I write a string here, see, a 4-line error messages. Now this is a very small code. If you go into the designing a software and write a lot of code, and this error won't be of 3 or 4 lines, it would probably be of tens and hundreds of lines. It may reach up to many lines depending on the type of error. So if we want to identify the error, here it is easy. We can just read this statement, but it looks very like as if the code broke and something big happened and a lot of error messages are popping. And if there is a big error, it's hard to find on which line is the error. So for that we have another method. We can do something like this. We can do a try and except. So print, okay, so it would try this. If it's not possible, if the code breaks down, then it would do the except. So this is a very good way of catching the errors, because if this doesn't work, you may print out an error message, a customized error message. So let me run this code again, and I am inputting a number, not a number, again a spam. So it shows error. Okay, now there is a better way, because we can also, here it just says error, but we can also print out what's the error. So for that you need to write, I would tell to pay attention to the caps. Print except exception as E, then error. I like this. I like it to be something like this, and then I can just print out E as well. So now when I run the code, and wait a second, let me run this again. Kill. Okay, so when if I spam, see, it shows error, and this is the error E which we got. Can only concatenate string, not integer to string. It means that we are adding a string to the integer, and you can find out using this error message only. So instead of if you are writing a big code and a big error message pops out, it's always better to use this method, because firstly it helps in a clean crashing of code. It would not just stop, and if the user would be shocked what's happening and all that. And secondly, it can tell you the exact error which is coming in, and not telling you all that stuff. And you can, there are a lot of ways here in the except statements, such as raise error and all that. You can google it for more details, and this is a beginner tutorial, so I am not going into much details. So if you like that video, please hit a like and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thank you and happy coding.